Thank you all so much for clicking on today's Dallas Cowboys Report video. We know that about half of you guys watch the show and yet aren't actually subscribed, which means you're missing out on the videos we put out every single day. That's right, every day, at least one video, sometimes two. We got one for you guys here on the Cowboys Report. So if you want to stay up to date on the offseason, coaching changes, draft, free agency, and everything else in between, hit that big red button and subscribe today. Let's dive into some rumors around the Cowboys, beginning with Dak Prescott and his rehab. Is that going well? This remains 4 stars, as it's been for really the entirety of this entire process for Dak Prescott. Ian Rappaport says, hey, it's going well. Also threw in the whole, they think he'll be better than ever, which, okay, whatever. We just know you're saying that stuff there. But in terms of actual updates here, he's making progress, able to walk, working on an anti-gravity treadmill, which sounds super fun. Never been on one before in my entire life. The expectation remains he's going to be fine way before week 1. In reality, I expect Dak Prescott to be back and healthy in terms of like being able to practice and all that at some point during the offseason program, or at least whatever the offseason program is going to look like this year. I've got no real concerns over Dak Prescott's return. This is a broken ankle. Yeah, it was ugly and it looked terrible, but by all reports, there's no nerve issues, there's no post-surgery complications. He's fine. Frankly, I'd be more concerned about a throwing shoulder injury or a torn ACL. This is, at some level, just a broken ankle. I think he's going to be fine, and of all quarterbacks uniquely equipped to come back from this type of injury, I think Dak Prescott is certainly at the top of that list. So what is your guys' confidence level in Dak coming back and being healthy and being the guy we've seen steadily grow over the past 5 years or so? Let me know in the comments and rate this for me on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to make this question the pinned comment, by the way. So if you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. Let's talk Jaylon Smith then. Is he going to move to Sam linebacker? I waffled on 1-star, 2-star here. I'll give it 2. I think at times it's smart to use Jaylon Smith as a Sam linebacker. So again, a strong side linebacker, that Sam linebacker role, is going to line up a lot more on the line of scrimmage and fan-sided pitches. He can avoid the run fits and having to identify the holes properly and fit properly, which he wasn't great at this past year. And that's fine. I think that does work on base downs. You can get him on the edge, let him be an edge setter. He can blitz more from that position. I like all those ideas. The problem is, despite Jaylon Smith's fantastic tackle numbers, as mentioned, he wasn't great in run fits last year. But that doesn't really fix your core issue. Remember, guys, it's the NFL. You play nickel 75-ish% of the time. So yeah, playing Smith at the Sam linebacker in that third linebacker spot in terms of who comes off the field works for 25% of the plays. But in nickel, where are you playing Jaylon? Are you taking him off the field altogether to avoid him in coverage spots? Okay, that's fine, but now you need a new number 1/number 2 linebacker, and you're paying him a lot of money to not be a true starter for you. So in nickel, Sam doesn't actually fix your problems. In nickel, your best bet might actually end up being the middle linebacker role, where you can keep him out of the big spaced areas. Because if you put him at will, I think you're going to have him overrun and underrun stuff all the time. If you can put him at that middle linebacker spot, maybe it makes the most sense. In the end, Mike and Will aren't that different in 2021 in the NFL. So you're still going to run into your same problems. Do you trust him in run fits? Do you trust him in coverage? He was better down the stretch last year, but not ideal. Can he blitz more? Yes, I hope so. Hope Dan Quinn does that more often. But just saying, make him the Sam linebacker doesn't actually fix your core issues when it comes to the way Jaylon Smith has played the past 2 seasons. So will he bounce back? Let me know what you guys think here. Y for yes and for no. I hope that he does. I love Jaylon the person. I want him to bounce back. But there were just some confidence issues in terms of seeing things and reacting properly, and also seeing the right thing. He falls for the eye candy so often. I'm a little bit concerned. But get your votes in. Y for yes or and for no. Now, today's show is made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use the promo code you see on your screen right there. Cowboys 125. That gets you a 125% deposit bonus. Simple math, guys. $100 in, they give you an extra 125 for free. That's available when you use promo code Cowboys125 at chatsports.com/bet. Let's recap the 2020 draft class for the Cowboys. Was it only okay? No. I very much disagree with this. I'm giving this fake news. Now, there's a lot to go in here in terms of what Bleacher Report did. They gave the Cowboys a C. And I'm like, that's weird. I should read up on how they judged everything. They loved the CeeDee Lamb pick. Okay. And then just said it. Basically, everything else was bad, which is wild to me. There was zero respect for Trevon Diggs or Tyler Biadasz, and they threw some shade at Neville Gallimore as well. I don't really get it, and it seems like there's a weird double standard here for the Cowboys. A, you made one of the best round one picks, so they're like a minimum you should be starting to be, right? They threw a lot of shade at Trevon Diggs in particular, and they praised A.J. Terrell, by the way, which is fine, except the metrics they used to praise A.J. Terrell, Diggs was better in. So that doesn't make sense to me. Yes, Diggs was up and down. We'll talk more about him in a second. But to throw shade at Diggs and praise the Terrell pick, that doesn't make any sense. They hated on Neville Gallimore, who was a rotational piece with flashes in year one. That's kind of what you're expecting out of the number 82 overall pick. And yeah, Reggie Robinson gave you nothing, and Bradley and I barely played. Tyler Biadasz was a starting caliber center in year one and better than Joe Looney. Kind of weird to throw the shade at when in reality you got a day 3 pick starting for you, and I think should be a starter for you long term, a number 1 borderline receiver, and a starting caliber cornerback out of this class, plus a rotational DT. That's good. Again, Diggs got beat plenty, 5 touchdowns. He picked off 3 passes. His completion percentage was sub 55%. For a guy that got picked on a lot and got better as the year went on, I mean, come on, guys. I just don't think we watched the Cowboys if we're acting like A.J. Terrell was some godly pick and Diggs sucked. That's my takeaway. So be better, Bleacher Report. Be better. What I want you guys to do is rectify this here. Grade the Cowboys 2020 draft class after year one. I think at minimum you're looking at a B. You have a stud receiver in CeeDee Lamb, a very promising cornerback in Trevon Diggs, a potential day 3 starter in Tyler Biadasz, and at least a rotational piece in Neville Gallimore. If you're hitting, and it looks like a hit in after year one on 4 of your top 5 picks, that's really good. That means you drafted well. Remember, we have to acknowledge that players bust a lot. This should at least be a B. But let me know what you guys think. A, B, C, D, or F. Let's look now to this upcoming NFL draft. Is this going to be defense heavy? I think it has to be, and I've made this point ad nauseum, and we're going to keep bringing it up as people discuss it. You have to go defense heavy here. I like the hire of Dan Quinn. I really do. But you know what? If you roll out a similar defense in terms of talent to what the Cowboys had last year, it's not going to work. And now, I'm not saying you have to go full Carolina Panthers 2020 and make every single pick a defensive one. If you want to spend one of your first top 100 picks on a tackle or spend a developmental receiver pick later on with your 9 or 10 picks, I'm on board with that. I am. But you got to upgrade your defense. Right now, they are not good enough. You have DeMarcus Lawrence. Maybe you bring back Goldsmith. We'll talk about Randy Gregory in just a second. But your defensive tackle spot, got 1 run stopper and 2 solid-ish rotation guys. Maybe solid-ish, and Neville Gallimore, and coming off injury, Tristan Hill. That's not enough. At linebacker, I mean, Leighton Vander Esch and Jaylon Smith once looked like the best young linebacking duo in the NFL, and they've fallen apart since then. That's a huge concern. And, of course, most importantly, the secondary. Trevon Diggs might be a good CB2 for you long-term, bordering on a CB1. You got nothing else proven under contract. Anthony Brown's a number 3 or a number 4. I like Donovan Wilson. You got to get a legit free safety in there. You roll out the same secondary, guess what? With the same front 4, it's still going to be bad. You have to upgrade the defense in free agency and in the draft. So when it comes to the draft, who do you guys want? Let me know in the comments section what player or players you guys want to go add. Now, I put together a Cowboys round 1 draft target video, which not a lot of you guys watched, which I'm painfully hurt by. It's on the channel. Go check it out. I'll put the link in the comments and in the description. The thumbnail looks like that. I went through a lot of different defensive guys. I'd appreciate it if you guys went and watched this video once this one is all wrapped up. Let's talk now about Randy Gregory here. Does the Dan Quinn hire help him? 4 stars on this one. I think Randy Gregory, and I completely agree with John Oning's piece on this, by the way, in the Dallas Morning News. I think it's a great addition for him. I think this helps him significantly. Like, Gregory really impressed in limited time this season. And now I think in particular the Leo role, which it's LEO, of course. It's almost a defensive end in a 4-3 scheme, a 3-4 outside linebacker, kind of hybrid. He plays out wide, sometimes stands up. The goal is to be a pass rusher. Well, shit. That's what Randy Gregory does best. I think that particular role is going to result in a lot of success for Gregory. Now, he only had 3.5 sacks this year, but a ton of pressures. And if you upgrade the secondary and you force teams to throw it more often because your run defense is better and your offense is healthy and you can score more points, of course, I think that benefits the passing attack significantly. So 3.5 sacks, if you keep Dan Quinn, upgrade some secondary guys, I think it'll be more than that in 2021 for Gregory. One note here on the coaching staff I want to dive into here. Another interview has been held for the Cowboys. Aden, I believe I'm pronouncing the last name right here, Aden Durde. 2 stars of him potentially joining the coaching staff. Now, this is the first and only British coach currently in the NFL right now. Durde interviewed for a staff position. They didn't, Breonna Dix did not specify which one. Work with some outside linebackers, some defensive line. From the things I've been told is that he's well regarded as an up-and-coming young coach. But remember, he spent time with the Falcons this past year. Or with the Falcons past few years, I should say. There's a very fine line here that the Cowboys and Dan Quinn are kind of towing and trying to balance, right? It's the, hey, I want to have some familiarity, have some good coaching staff chemistry, but also, if you just hire old Falcons coaches when their defense is bad, mostly because of the talent, I have some concerns about that. So it's a very fine line, but I think both Joe Witt and Aden Durde have had enough well-regarded reviews from others outside this Cowboys organization that I'm mostly fine with it. So we'll see if and what position he ends up joining the Cowboys staff with, but keep an eye on Aden Durde, the British coach who spent last year with the Falcons, joining the Cowboys staff.